Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Melinda. I am from class 2C. Here I want to give a little explanation about manner of articulation and place of articulation. If English is not our first language, making the English sound doesn't come naturally. You might speak a language that has many similar sounds, but there is a good chance your native language doesn't include all of the sounds of English. That's why we need to understand about how and where the sounds of language occur. The how of making sounds is called manner of articulation, and the where of making sound is called place of articulation. Okay, first we will talk about manner of articulation. Manner of articulation is how of making sounds. When learning our first language, we don't usually think about how we make the sounds we do. We just reproduce what we have heard over the first few years of our lives. We make the sounds without thinking how our mouth, tongue, and teeth are doing, unless we need the additional support of speech therapy. Manner of articulation in second language learning is important because pronunciation doesn't come as naturally as when learning our first language. It's important to know how sounds are made so that you can produce sounds correctly and speak more clearly. Okay, next there are 6 different ways of manner of articulation. First, a plosive or a stop. We build pressure of air and then release it. This is a sudden burst of air. And the second, fricatives. Fricatives is when the air through our mouth, so we stop for the area. We stop part in the air, so it cannot come through anywhere. It is a stream of air. And the third is affricate. We combine stops and fricatives to form a fricative. And the fourth is nasal. We close our palate and let air stream through nose. And the fifth is liquid. We let air stream on the sides of our tongue. And the last is glide. We move our mouth constantly from articulation to a vowel sound. And I will give you the example for the first way of manner articulation. It's a plosive or a stop. The example is p, p or b. The example word is big. P. And the example for the second way is fricatives. When the air through our mouth, so we stop for the area. We stop part of the air, so it cannot come through anywhere. It is a stream of air. The example is s, s, z. And the example word is like sun. S. Third is affricate. And the example word from affricate, cage. And the fourth is nasal. The example word from nasal is moon. And the fifth is liquid. And the example word is red, light. And the last is glide. The example word is wind or yellow. And next we will talk about place of articulation. Place of articulation is the where of making sounds, the where of pronunciation. It is the location of where sounds are produced. In this section, you will learn where to place your tongue, teeth, and lips when creating sounds, how different sounds involve different parts in the mouth, and how to pronounce all the consonant sound in English. First, we will look the different parts of the mouth are located and then look at where each of English consonant are pronounced. The place of articulation is important in pronunciation because you must know where to produce sounds in order to pronounce them correctly. If you are not pronouncing a consonant correctly, it's probably because the place of articulation is not correct as you are pronouncing the sounds. There are 7 places of articulation. First is bilabial, contact between the lips. Here. It's like and the next is labiodental, contact between the lower lip and the upper teeth. It's like and the next is dental, contact between the tip of the tongue and the area just behind the upper teeth. Next, alveolar, contact between the tongue and the alveolar ridge. This is the ridge area between the upper teeth and the hard palate. Next, palatal, contact between the tongue and the hard palate or alveolar ridge. And the next is posalveolar, contact between the tongue and the back of the alveolar ridge. And the next is velar, contact between the tongue and the soft palate. And the last is glottal, restriction of the airflow at the glottis. I think enough from me to give a little explanation about manner of articulation and place of articulation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.